Hi, welcome to Nathaneal Podcast. Today we have a special guest, a very special guest, one of my fellow countrymen, Sean Canela. What's up, dude?
Hey man, what's up? You know, we actually talked before this, and I'm having trouble now trying to differentiate between English and Filipino. So yeah, I'm going to try my best to be English, but yeah, doing good, man, doing good.
If you're cool with it, like we could just confuse the people in on X, just like
Yeah,
speak Filipino.
yeah.
Yeah,
When
man.
when we have to say stuff that we can't, we're just going to talk Tagalog.
Right, man. One thing, like when I went into X, you were already monetized, and dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I went there, I didn't think that you were Filipino until you commented on one of my posts. You were like said something, and then "pre," which is basically like bro in Filipino.
Yeah, I remember that post. It was the post where I think it was your pinned post, and you talked about your story. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was actually crazy. I saw you posting guitar videos, and it kind of stood out. So I went to your account, and this guy is also from the Philippines. So that was really cool.
Yeah, the that was clickbait, bro. The guitar videos. It's because like I remember Aaron Will, right? He said like, post videos, and so I was like, what? What videos am I gonna post? Okay, let me just sing, and then it like blew up. So I was like, okay, let's just keep on posting them.
Yeah, I tried the same for piano, and it didn't work. But yeah, I guess guitar works better.
It was because like gotta show your face, man. Like you gotta show your handsome face.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
That's what I did. Like just show like Riz all the women on X.
Yeah, I only show my hands, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. So what led you to go into X? Like, I mean, we're both from the Philippines. We both know like it's not really a thing here. You know, like social media. I mean, of course, social media is a thing, but like making money online, we only know a few Filipinos go in there. So, what made you go there?
Actually, I was already big into business whenever I before I started X. Like I remember, my earliest memories of starting a business was around like 4 years ago, and the first thing I ever did, I think, was Instagram theme pages. You would basically build Instagram theme pages to a reasonable amount by posting like random stuff, memes, that stuff. Then eventually you would sell the theme page, and that was my first ever business. So eventually, I started multiple. I eventually got hit with Eman, so I bought into his SMMA stuff. I did that stuff. It didn't work out, obviously. Then eventually, I did so many different things, and none of it was really sticking. I did Notion, and that kind of made me my first few $1,000 in business, but it also wasn't fun. So I was looking for something that was actually fun. And, I asked myself, what would I actually enjoy doing for the rest of my life? And it was content creation. I always liked writing that stuff. And eventually, I found out some guy named Danko. I don't know who he is, but, I eventually found him out, went to X, and, rest is history, I guess.
Great, man. So you made your first dollar basic or started business 4 years ago. Does that mean like 14 you were already dabbling on business?
Yeah, around 14, 13, something like that.
Like high school? How do you like
Yeah,
after school? Is that like how did that
high
work?
school. Yeah, before COVID, definitely.
Like you would go to school and then after you would just find ways to make money online.
Yeah, I mean, when you get exposed to the internet early on, you get tired with games and social media very early on. So you try to find like new addictions,
Yeah.
and building businesses and trying to earn money was a new addiction of mine back then.
You were before you were a gamer. What games did you play?
Games that I play, it was mostly like random RPGs, so Skyrim, Witcher, and that stuff. And I was big into Minecraft back then. But yeah, that was mostly it. I didn't play like any niche stuff.
Like basically, you were just looking in a way for a hobby. You're not really looking for. You're thinking of money. You're just thinking of make money, but it's more of a hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. And so, how was your journey into X? Like when you went in there, what did you do? Like, just run down. Like, what did you do? How was your journey there?
Right. So I had an account before Sean Canela, and it was actually a theme page account, so probably inspired by my Instagram. And on that X account, it was about my Notion business, and it was faceless, so I didn't have my face there. Basically, what I just posted there was stuff about my templates and random self improvement stuff. Now, that kind of worked for a while, and through doing that, I also learned about Danco, like I said, and I learned about all of these different guys. And I remember one of the first things that I ever bought was Sebastian Rosga's course. I'm not sure if you know that guy, but
Another
he does business, and I bought into his course. Then through him, I found Danco and a few other guys and bought into their courses. So I eventually built my Sean Canela brand as an experiment because I was trying to like see if having a theme page would like negatively affect my account, right? Because after reading into Danco stuff, it would seem like the only way to like really build something on X was to be a personal brand, right? But being a theme page obviously didn't reflect that. So I experimented with Shan Canela, and I think I haven't told this story by anyone else, but before Shan Canela, there was actually another Shan Canela, and within like the first 3 days, that account actually got banned. I had the same profile picture, I had the same banner, I had the same bio, everything, even the same posts. I just repurposed after my new account. But anyways, I was posting on that account and it got banned for no reason. So on my new account, my account now, I reposted everything, and my first ever post and everything got like 40 likes, 60 likes, 80 likes respectively. And I think part of that is because I already tried out everything before that and got banned with the content that I tried. So I used that on my new account and it worked. So that was the beginning, I guess, when it comes to growth. Just this, I already tried out everything, and so I already knew what to do because a lot of people have been asking me like, how did my first three posts get that many likes at the start? Yep, that's what I basically did at the start. I already did the stuff basically before I even started.
gotcha. And how did that path lead you to monetization? Like, how did you eventually monetize?
Yeah, so yeah, I bought Sebastian's course, right? And on that course, you have a Telegram group. And on that Telegram group, there were like multiple big people there. So there was Audrey and there was Sebastian and a few other guys there. I think Glenn was there too. But anyways, I was chatting in the group and I was pretty active. And eventually I asked something like, hey, so how much do you guys charge for consulting calls? And Sebastian posted this like on December. And I was asking around that group. And Audrey actually helped me before. She was giving me advice on like how to charge for my calls and all of that stuff. And so I had an idea to start a coaching offer instead of just like a consulting call because my original plan was to just sell a consulting call. But from what Audrey said and what Sebastian said, it really made sense to do coaching. So that's how it started. Audrey and Sebastian helped me a lot in terms of like building that first coaching offer. And so I sold that coaching offer. I made it in one night and sold it the next day, which is on the New Year's. And it worked. So I guess that kind of started everything when it comes to monetization.
Like, what was your offer back then? Like your first offer?
First offer back then, it was all about I guess growth. And the main like selling point of my offer back then was actually I won't help people get like a specific amount of followers. Like I didn't promise I'll help you get 10 times engagement or other similar stuff that you see nowadays. Instead, my like biggest promise back then was I'll help people do everything that I did because a big part of my selling point back then was everyone in my DMs was like asking me, Sean, how did you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this? Right? How do you do this? How do you write? How do you do this? And so I tried to like package up all of their questions. And the big promise was just I help you do everything that I did. Looking back, that was probably wasn't the best idea because I didn't have a promise or anything like that. But it worked as a beginner, and kind of did everything after that.
Very interesting, man. Because like, at least I guess that's also what I kind of did. Because you still believe on the you are your best case study. Like you don't if you promise something that you don't have, it's like you're a fat instructor. If you get what I mean. So you gotta
Yeah.
like you gotta prove that you can do it. And basically, I mean, if you've done it for yourself, you'll be able to do it for others, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So you're doing like coaching. What was your long term vision at that point when you entered X and you like did all this stuff? Were you just doing it for fun? Like, what was your vision back then?
I was mostly doing it for fun, but a big contrast in my goals back then was I wanted to have as big of an audience as possible. Like I looked at my Notion and I think I posted about this, but the goal was 1 million Twitter followers in 1 year. Obviously, I didn't get that. So now it has changed. It's something like 100K a month, but not 1 million followers. So back then it was likes are cash, but now it's kind of like likes ain't cash.
Okay. So you were only focused primarily on the like getting followers, right?
Yeah.
Were you thinking like monetizing? Because for me personally, when I got onto X or when I got into this online writing thing, honestly, I was only focused on doing like the monetization, the monetization program where you like get a million views or something and then you get paid. Like that was the only thing that I was running for. Was that also like what you were looking for in the beginning?
I
Not
didn't
really.
know that thing existed back then. Yeah, the only thing that I wanted was a big audience because I believed that if you had a big audience, then it would be easier to sell to a lot of people. Obviously, that's still true, but I didn't have a clue back then that you could make this amount of money with just like 4,000, 5,000 followers, like I have right now.
Gotcha. So you were just thinking of like building an audience and then figuring out from there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then change then like after thinking just I'll just help you do everything that I did. How did that offer change into what you have now and what your vision is now?
Yeah, good question. So how that changed is it basically evolved from so back then it was like 75% growth and 25% monetization and the actual important stuff. So eventually I got more clients and they were asking more like intricate questions. So they were asking stuff like how do you actually do this with your clients? How do you handle this with your clients? How do you talk to your clients like this? That kind of stuff. So it slowly evolved from growth and monetization to like monetization and systems. So one of my clients actually, Arnie, was one of the first ever guys that I worked with. And how me and Arnie evolved was actually very interesting. So before, when we started out like in our first month together, it was all about like growth. And I remember Arnie asking me every single day, like, Sean, is this post good? Sean, is my hook good? Should I comment this? Should I TM this? Eventually that stuff. And like on our second to third month together, he was asking more different stuff. So he was asking like, Sean, so how do I position this email? How do I upsell this guy? How do I do this? Right. And so as Arnie evolved, my program also evolved because I was seeing that if I were to attract people like Arnie at this level, I would be able to get higher quality clients and higher paying clients. So that's how it evolved. It started from growth, then eventually, as I learned through my clients, it went into more monetization and like back end stuff, I guess.
So and how did you find those like how did you answer those questions away? Did you just like experiment or did you apply to other programs or did you buy stuff? How did that go?
It was mostly from my own experience, but yeah, part of it is also because I was coached by multiple people, and if my clients were asking something that I didn't know, then I would try my best to like say, hey dude, I don't know this, but someone taught me this from another place. So here's what we basically did. But most of it came from me because a lot of my clients mostly bought because they saw my stuff on X and they wanted the same things that I did. So naturally, I think they would ask more what I did. So that's basically how it went.
Gotcha. Is there like looking back, is there any mistakes that you did with your clients as well that you like now you're like, yeah, never don't do that. That's a mortal sin.
Yeah, I made an email about that, but I forgot the specific things. But I think one of them was like, let me try to look at my X account or email. But it was something about like I told all of my clients before that they should like spam $1 services or something like that. And I'm not sure if you were there back then, but X kind of had a trend for everyone posting about like $1 deals, or I just signed a $1 client. And it worked for a bit because I think Ben did it for a while, and he eventually he scaled pretty fast there because Ben's pretty exceptional. He did that pretty fast. But I tried doing that to all of my clients, and it didn't work out well. Obviously they got the likes and the engagement, but from a long term like business thing, it wasn't really good. So I eventually dialed that down, and instead just changed it without announcing it. Because I still believe that if you want to get early case studies and testimonials, gonna have to do like cheap work or at least free work.
Yeah, that's definitely something I took. My stance before there was like, yo, you gotta value your work, blah blah blah. And then as I continue to do it, like right now, I have actually taken, like right now I'm making a lot of money already, but I just recently took like a free client simply because that client is like has good network, and I know that if I get him the results, well, it's basically not free because I get like paid when I close him a deal. But since I know that he has like a good network, I kind of know that I will get good referrals after we work together.
Yeah, I also
That's
heard from yeah, I heard from Corey. I was reading one of his posts that referrals were like really big in your business. So yeah, I'm glad it's working out for you.
dude, like there's so many people that I've. Thing is, I give value up front where I kind of like give them solutions even before they sign with me. Because again, I guess it's because do for you, right? So I'm just gonna sell them like, okay, this is what you need to do. You need someone to do it. I'll do it. Say that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's
makes
like
sense.
it's not. Yes, now I'm realizing it. I did a lot more free work than I thought I did it.
Yeah, but it worked out in the end, so that's nice.
I did. So like that you recently just scaled 15K per month, right? So how did that like evolve from just simply dabbling to like making 15K? It was what were the fixes? What were the infrastructures that you put in place?
All right, so I would say from like 0 to 10K a month, it was more so doubling down on what worked and not doing things that didn't work, right? When you kind of reach 10K a month, you have two options. The first option is you double down again and work crazy hard to get to 20K, 30K, 40K, whatever, right? That's the first option. The second option is to have what JK Molina calls do more art in your business rather than more business. And that's kind of the route that I chose because like in our country, like 10K, 15K a month, it's like enough to make you feel like I'm a millionaire or something, right?
Yeah,
So
dude. You're a king, bro.
yeah, you know,
Seriously, dude.
yeah. Unless like you are really struggling with money or you want Lambos or something,
Yeah.
I think you can be comfortable by doing more art in the business, which is like doing the stuff that you actually want, building stuff, writing content, stuff like that. So I always said this to all of my clients. You always have two choices. You have the first choice, make as much money as possible, but you probably won't enjoy it immediately, or do more art now and enjoy more. So I kind of chose the art because I think unless you really need it, then there's not really a reason for you to push monetization 24/7.
Yeah, 100%. I think like a lot of people on X, and this is what I kind of I disqualify those clients who come to me who are like this who I forgot the word Jesus Christ. Desperate. Desperate to like monetize. Cause dude, like when they're desperate, they one they can get results, but if they fail, like they blame you. Or if they fail. And then two, like you kind of feel pressured to do things. Which I feel like especially in the social media game, it's really hard to say that this exact time is going to be the time where you can monetize, because I've had so many times where my client was making 000 and then 10K, like just day 10K and then 20K, 30K. Like you go downward first and then you go upward. And so I think that that approach really, what you said, the art, do something that you like rather than thinking of money is more important.
Yeah, I feel you. Like I've also had a lot of clients like that in the past. Like they would be so razor focused on becoming successful, but when they see like a sliver of a mistake or something that doesn't work out, they start to blame not only you, but they blame themselves so much that they end up becoming like demotivated and not doing the work anymore. So yeah, um, don't sign people like that. Basically, is the advice here.
Don't be like that. That's a better one.
Yeah,
It's like, dude, honestly, there's so many people who's come to me like that, and I mean, it's just affects you as well. If you're helping them get there, because now you feel the same thing where you feel desperate with them. And I tried to communicate all the time during onboarding calls. Like, this is gonna take. Like, I don't guarantee anything. To be honest, I just tell them, like, yes, I'm doing the same thing that you did. Where it's like, dude, I'm gonna give you all the tools, like everything that's worked for me, everything that I know. I'm gonna give it to you. But bro, like, if it doesn't work out, then we'll try to fix it. But if it really doesn't work out, like, yo, maybe it's just a matter of time, basically. I don't know if like that's
yeah.
thing, but that's what I do. I just communicate with them.
Yeah, that's definitely way more healthy rather than like over promising them like $10 billion a month. It's definitely better to keep it realistic. At least that's what I do also nowadays.
Because it's long term, right? And you have to trust the process. Like, it's also what worked for me. There's so many, dude. When I did my first couple of months on X, I was lucky to be able to monetize quick. But in my first couple of months, oh, I bought courses. Like, I invested 13K on courses. That's so much. I had 5K on my wallet, on my bank account. And then thing was happening, and I was just getting anxious. But I just kept on going, and that's what I try to communicate with my clients as well.
Yeah, you know that was fun when you didn't have money because you would kind of like do everything to earn money. That's one of my clients said that recently. Like he likes being broke. Like before he liked being broke because if you were broke, you would do everything to not be broke.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Also, in a way, when you're broke, you have nothing to lose, right? Like, you
yeah,
just
basically,
just do.
yeah, Nike.
So now, like, you mentioned, like, you publicly announced that you're scaling to 100K. Like, how is that looking for you? Like, what are your plans? What's the infrastructures now? What's the
Yeah,
plan?
so um, I think if I just stayed to X and I just did everything on X, obviously with also my newsletter, it's perfectly possible to scale to 100K a month, right? Because you have people like Oji already doing it without moving to other platforms. But for me, I already did YouTube before. I edited before. I did that stuff before. So one of the things that I will be experimenting on is YouTube. To I don't think it will help me like it will really push me to 100K a month, but it will be supplemental and like really nurturing the leads that I'll be getting. Because my main reasoning with YouTube is it's not going to be a new traffic source for me, although that's a big bonus. Instead, I kind of wanted to be like that platform that people go to if they want more of me, right? And this has worked for a guy that I have been talking to. So he has around like 500 combined views on YouTube, where if we like compare that to X, you could do it with a horrible platitude, right? But YouTube, it's kind of harder to get views there. But anyways, he did 3 videos, and all in all, it got like 500 combined views. But he actually signed a high ticket client from those like 500 combined views. So it's pretty promising. Imagine if you get like 1K, 2K, 5K, right? So that's one of the main things. I'll be experimenting with YouTube. The other thing is, I guess you call it systemizing, what X likes to call it. So basically, systemizing is just making things much more easier for you. So maybe I'll hire like team members eventually in the future, but right now, and I think I wrote this in the email, is my goal right now is to make my business as asynchronous as possible, because if it's as synchronous as possible, less time talking to people who won't buy anyways, that kind of stuff. If it was asynchronous, then you would have more time to build, right? You would have more time to dial in your delivery, your systems, stuff like that. So that's mainly the goal. But like I said, I think I'll make a change in that plan, when I reach like 50K a month, 60K a month, whatever. But for now, that's the plan.
Exciting, man. YouTube. You did say that like nowadays people are more into videos rather than written, which is actually also the reason why I didn't plan it. I just did the podcast because I want to talk to cool people. And like if you get to talk to cool people and then you get to have content, that's like a double whammy. That was a no-brainer. When I learned that, I was like, yeah, do podcast. But now like people just hit me up talking about, oh, I want your podcast. They didn't have X and they went on X because they saw my podcast, which was like cool. It's like that
Yeah,
go.
that's amazing. You're like getting free mentorship out of the calls, because I do see your podcast, and a lot of the people that you get on the podcast are like genuinely big entrepreneurs, right? So
Yeah.
it's a good networking strategy.
Now, I mean, it's the same thing, man. I got you here, so you're also a big entrepreneur. So cool.
Yeah, I'm honored.
So, like, are you? How's that content going to pan out? Like for YouTube, is there a growth still, or like how? What content will you be creating there?
Good question. I think it will mostly be about monetization, because looking back, that was one of the best things that I have. And, whenever you start something like YouTube or starting on Instagram, ideally you would do it already with an advantage, right? It's very hard to start from zero. So if you wanted an advantage on YouTube or Instagram, then you would talk about stuff that you already did. So I can talk about X growth that much because it's a different platform, but I can talk about client acquisition because it applies to pretty much everything. So mostly monetization.
Gotcha. So more of like online business, like how to get clients through online, something like that.
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So, like a quick rundown, if you were to teach someone, right, like how to monetize, to run an online business, how to do client acquisition, what would those steps be?
Yeah, I always like to look at it through like three things. So there's no systems, there's no backend weird stuff. So just look at three things. The first thing is traffic. If you don't have traffic, fix that first. Second thing is leads. If you don't have leads, fix that. And third thing is clients. If you don't have clients, fix that, right? And the solutions to that are actually really simple. You could scroll at the X timeline and see decent advice on how to grow very easily, right? So that's traffic solved. Now, getting leads is also pretty simple, because everyone, for some reason on X, likes sharing their stuff for free. So you could also find that on X really easy. If you want to get leads, fix your content, because for me personally, a lot of my leads come from my content, right? Like the tweets I make, the emails I make. So a lot of it is inbound, right? But obviously, you can still do outbound. But I'm not an expert in that, so I won't give you advice there. But no, if you want to get more leads, then either fix your content or fix your DMs and other stuff like that. So if you want clients, then fix two things. Fix your DMs or fix your calls, right? For me personally, I used to do sales calls back then, like a lot of sales calls. All of the people, whether they're like 1K a month client or 1.K client, I would do sales calls for all of them. But now the strategy that I use, since I do get a lot more leads than I can handle, then I just I only hop on sales calls who clients that are going to pay me like 1.5K a month. But if it's clients who are under like K a month, then I will just send a Google Doc to them and close them through that. So yeah, just fix those three bottlenecks: traffic, leads, and clients. If you're struggling with like anything else, then you're probably focusing on the wrong stuff. Because if you're a beginner, I don't think that you should focus on like systems and like the intricacies of like client delivery and like all of those little things, right? You don't need to focus on that. And instead, just focus on what actually makes you money.
That's true, man. I see like a lot of people on X posting about make things more complicated than it is. Because really, like the knuckle dragger, dude. Like I would just didn't even know what I was doing in the beginning. I was just thinking, you post content, gotta sign a client, and then it worked. Like I just DM'd people, it worked. It's like I didn't know systems, bro.
Yeah. Like the guy spamming DMs will always get a client rather than the guy who's spamming systems for some reason. You know, he could have the most horrible DM script, but he can still sign a client. That's just how it works.
Man. So, like, how you have traffic, you have leads, you have clients. Like, do you have any systems on how to like increase retention or like how to keep them in the loop for the longest time? Like, do you have systems there?
Yeah, so I learned this from one of my mentors, and it's basically offense and defense. So, offense, it basically means you're going to give results. That's it. You know, you're just going to give results. Defense is actually telling them, all right, so we're not having results right now, but we are going to get results. So it's kind of like so in a situation, it would look like something like this. So your friend is at the mall, like 30 minutes away from you, right? But you're at home. But if you want to like ease that friend's stress since he's not at the mall, you need to play defense. So you're going to tell him something like, "All right, dude, so I'm actually on the way. Maybe you'll give him your location." So he's like, he's eased up, you know, that you're coming. But you know, offense on the other hand is you actually being there 30 minutes earlier, right? So you're not going to tell him that um, you're going to be there when you're still not, right? Instead, you're actually going to be there. So I do defense for my group and the people. So for people who don't have results yet or are still very early in the game, then I will do defense on them. So that comes in the form of like updates, you know, roadmaps, that kind of stuff. And offense, on the other hand, is actually do things with them. So maybe I'll instead of coaching them on how to build their offer, I will build their offer myself, and it makes more sense, right? So if it takes like um 2 calls for you to even build like the outcome of your offer, then I think it just makes more sense if you did the offer yourself and more calls with them, that kind of stuff. So it's a combination of defense and offense, which I think really works well in terms of retention.
That, man, that's a very new concept for me. Offense and defense. Like you are 19, you're quite young, and you have like all this knowledge on business. What I want to like ask you is, would you say like what would be your long-term vision? So of course you're gonna hit 100K per month, but like long term, because dude, you're very young, right? And like after 100K, what is really the end point? Your life's vision in a way.
It's a good question. Right now, and this will probably change because I'm very impulsive. The goal right now is to go somewhere like, do you know Tuscany in France?
Familiar, like I've heard it, but I'm not familiar with the place.
Yeah, so it's basically a place where it looks like paradise basically because there's vineyards, there's like big green terrains, that kind of stuff. So the end goal, like in the next 10 to 20 years that I have mapped out, is ideally move out to that once I'm earning like 100K, 500K, you know, depends. But you know, the goal is to move out to that. But you know, the old goal before was to like own 10 mansions and have like 10 Lambos and all of that stuff. So it changes. I think part of it has to do with puberty, but yeah.
Okay, one thing I remember. This is from our good friend Benjamin Chan. He told me to ask you this. It popped out because you talked about Lambos. You own your family, or your aunt owns a house, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah. Actually, my dad told me that a few months ago. Like he said it so casually, so I didn't know at the time that, you know, I didn't know if he was joking or not, but we talked about it a few times and he actually wasn't joking. But yeah.
Benjamin Chan wanted me to ask you, like, why do you do this if you're so rich?
I'm not rich. My parents are. I always said that because, you know, I could just do school my entire life. And, you know, I think Benjamin Chan can answer the same thing because
You can ask him the same thing, right?
you can ask him the same thing. He's the son of a self-made multimillionaire.
So, actually, now that you mentioned it, like, what made you decide to, or wait, did you not pursue college before you went on X, or did you go on X first? Like, how did that decision come up? Like, not going to
Yeah,
college.
so I think I stopped college like around November or October last year. And I started X during around that time, but it wasn't Shan Canela. So my main reason for dropping out was technically X because I was doing X but not in the Shan Canela account. So I still dropped it, was doing X. But my main reason back then is that I really enjoyed like making money online, no matter what it is. Because I was making money back then through my ebook business and my Notion business. Those two were making me money, so it was kind of enough to make me decide to drop out. But it wasn't the coaching thing in Sean Canela. It was just the Notion and the products, that stuff. But you know, I think the decision would still be the same if I started Sean Canela back then or Notion, because like earning that first dollar online, and I think you know the same feeling, probably like 10 billion opportunities open up in your mind. But
Okay.
yeah.
It's crazy. That is crazy. But what my question now too is like, we're from the Philippines. It's a conservative country somewhat. And like, how did your family react when you said, "Yo, I'm gonna make money online, gonna drop college"?
Yeah, I didn't tell everyone. I only told my mom.
Okay.
So, naturally, obviously, she wasn't open to it because you know how most moms are, especially in our country. It's naturally she wasn't open to it, but I showed her the results of my business, and I spent like 1 hour on a sales call while walking with her. It was like a sales call. I was walking with her, told her the value prop, the future, the outcome, even gave her a guarantee. So eventually, I did convince her, but it took a long time.
So now, does your whole family know, or still just your mom right now?
Most of them know. I'm not sure if like everyone knows, but I think they would know.
That's crazy. Like, actually, I don't know if this is at least my personal thing. I'm still kind of, there's still a restriction for me to tell people that I'm an entrepreneur, like I'm making money online. Because again, it's not usual in the Philippines to be like this, right? To be just a guy in front of your computer at home and making like shit ton of money.
Yeah, I don't recommend telling anyone whatsoever. So it just so happened that they knew, like they looked at my accounts and they asked me, that kind of stuff. But if you had the option, never tell people. I think it's really good advice, especially in our country, where someone might randomly pop up and you have debt to them for some reason.
There was one guy, sorry, just to share with you this, like there was one guy who saw my podcast on YouTube, like just it popped up his feed. Like he didn't even subscribe. It just popped up. I don't know what's up with that, but he's asking me for a job. Like he's asking me to be to be a writer for me. I don't know if you have that experience, but there's like from our country, like a Filipino asking me, "Yo, can you give me a job?" I'm like, "Yo,
Like
I'm a writer."
a ghostwriter. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Have you had that experience? No, not yet.
Only a VA. Someone from our country. They wanted to be my VA, but not a writer. That's very vague.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you? So do you have a VA like with her or no, or the person? No.
Nah, I already had a VA by then.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, man. So how like we're in terms of like X, for some reason we're old, but in terms of at least for us in Philippines, like we're quite young, making money young. You know what I mean? Like there's some people who are way older who's making less money. Like, what would your advice be to young people who also want to be entrepreneurs? Like,
Yeah, good question. I try to look back because I did start a lot. I started SMMA, Instagram, YouTube, and all of those different things. And, you know, only a few lessons like really stick because if you start multiple things, then you do tend to get new lessons every single day, right? So one of the only lessons that actually did make sense for me is sticking to something more than 3 to 6 months. Like for example, on my Notion business, I still do it now, I don't do it actively, but it earns me like $500 to 1K a month every month. So it's on the sideline, and it only worked because I stick to it for at least like 3 months. I remember starting it like um back in August up until like November or something, where I started earning my first few dollars. So if you really stick to something, have like don't stick to something for like too long, but you should stick to something to like at least 3 months if you see the potential in it. Because I always ask myself, will I see myself doing this for the next 3 years? If the question is no, then I won't do it. But I'll at least make the effort to see the potential of it. So yeah, that's, I guess, my number one lesson. Just stick to it. It's a basic platitude, common advice, but it works.
Yeah. Dude, that works, and I guarantee that. So that works for you perfectly because you did the Notion thing. Now you're making like 10, 500, 1,000 per month on the side, not even putting effort. Like me, that advice worked because so I read this concept from Nicholas Cole, his book, The Art and Business of Online Writing. And that's the book that got me into X, actually. I started writing on Quora and then I transferred on X. And like for a month, 30 days, January this year, I just wrote on Quora, no expectations. And then for the next 2 months on X, I wrote no expectations. And like his advice was just write for 6 months, don't expect money, and money will come. It's literally what I did. Like I just wrote 3 months until I decided, like, oh, my company I was working for at that time was like going bankrupt. And so I decided to try to monetize. And then now, like, yeah, I'm earning money writing online. Like, some people would not even, you told me in January, like right now, that I'd be making money just writing online. I'd be like, fuck no. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah.
yeah, especially in our country, right?
Dude,
Yeah,
like, if you told me I'm making that amount of money, like, fuck, dude, I would be like, you're crazy.
yeah. I didn't know you did Quora. That's how you say it.
Yeah, Cora. So that's again, I was inspired by Nicholas Cole. Oh, he's a big creator on X. Are you familiar with Nicholas Cole?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I actually so the story is I was like December, bro. Like almost New Year, right? Like New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Like change in 2024. So I was watching like what books to read for 2024. And I stumbled across like Abdal. And then he recommended that. He was like, if you want to learn how to write online, this is a great book. And at that time, I was journaling, right? I was like into writing, but I wasn't publishing my work. So okay, let's check this out. And then I learned from that book, and then I just wrote in Quora the things that I've been writing on my journal. Again, I was just passionate about writing, and I just did that for like 3 months, basically wrote in the void. And when I decided, yo, like I'm gonna make money, dude, I was able to make money. Cool. 6
Yeah.
months, bro. It works, bro.
It works. It works.
Just
How
six
long did you
months.
stick to Quora? Like a few months?
So I did Quora for 30 days, like not 30 days, like something 45 days. So like a month, more or less a month. And then I only learned like post on X simply because I was following Nicholas Cole, right? And then I subscribed to their email course, their ship 30 for 30. And then they gave me this like brilliant idea that, yo, you don't have to stick to one platform. You can literally just copy the thing that you wrote, paste it on LinkedIn, paste it on Twitter, and just publish. That's what I did. And then, dude, I was getting 20 views in Quora. Follow after like a month, 20 views, 2 followers. As I was just doing
Yeah.
it over and over again. And then on X, there was like one day where it's just like ding, 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 like notifications. Holy fuck, I went like 1,000 views. And that's not a lot right now, like now that I'm looking back at it. But if you're like a new creator, 1,000 views, dude, I felt like
It's
a,
a lot.
yeah, bro. I felt like a fucking king, man. Like I felt like I was Mr. Beast, bro.
Yeah.
So
That's really interesting because I thought Quora was just like a tamer version of Reddit. I didn't know that you could do that stuff there. But
so
yeah,
is like kind of Reddit, it's kind of like same as Reddit, but the thing is, apparently that's also where Nicholas Cole grew. That's actually how Nicholas Cole became popular.
interesting.
Yeah, so he did what he did was he did the same thing. Like he answered Quora questions, and like thought leaders, like CEOs, wanted to be the top answer in certain Quora questions, and so they hired Nicholas Cole ghostwrite for them so that they would be the top answer in Quora, so that they would be the thought leaders.
That's a very smart niche, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
a very smart because I do see the top comments sometimes and I would look at their accounts. Do they know more about this thing? Do they know
Yeah.
more about what they're talking about? So it's actually really interesting. It just
Now
goes to
that
show that you can make money by basically doing anything.
yeah, dude, especially the internet right now, it's crazy. Yeah, man. Like that's your advice for entrepreneurs now. Like, have anything coming up? Any announcements you want to share?
Yeah, I'm actually going to launch YouTube in the next couple of days. My camera works. Yeah. The next big announcement is YouTube. Then obviously, and I think you also have something ready. I'm not sure for Black Friday. So, Black Friday, really big event for November, but that's mainly at YouTube and Black Friday.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I only learned about that like today. It's like, oh shit, there's Black Friday that needs to be happening. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, watch out for Black Friday. Right. I asked this one last question to like everyone who opts in. If there was one question that you wished I asked, what would it have been, and how would you answer it?
I had this really good question because I could have sworn I saw this somewhere else, but I think it was like if you were to like start a new life and you had the option to like if you had an option to start a new life into a game, then what game would you pick? Because
It's really good.
I saw that post on Reddit or something, and it really tells you like about the person. If they choose to be in this or this, you would learn a lot about that person. So I think it's a really interesting question, not just like a casual question, but you can really get deep with that.
So how would you answer that, man?
How would I answer that? Good question. I think I like something a bit more tamer. Like I play Witcher Skyrim a lot, so I don't want to die by dragons every single day. So I think I would just choose something like Minecraft. You still get the occasional zombie or something like that, but
Yeah.
if you just want something more tame, but if you still want to keep building, you want to do the art more than business, then I think Minecraft is like a really good answer.
Minecraft. That's funny. That's the exact same conversation I had with Benjamin Chan, bro. Like,
Yeah.
all right, man. So, can people find you on X? Oh, right, on YouTube, like on Canela. What's your tag again?
Yep.
Sorry.
So my tag on Instagram, X, and YouTube is all going to be the same. So it's just at Sean Canela.
And then I think you also have a newsletter, bro.
Yep, newsletter. So yeah, the newsletter it's in my bio. The link to that is also the same. I got the domain, so it's seancanela.
Awesome, man. Thanks for hopping in. It was a fun conversation, fellow countrymen. Thanks for
Yes.
this, bro.
You too, man. We should
All right,
meet
man.
soon.
All right, man. I'll see you.
Yep.